The Virginia Free Citizen presents an interview with Holly Austin Smith, the author of Walking Prey: How America's Youth Are Vulnerable to Sex Slavery. Smith became a victim of sex trafficking when she was 14 years old. The experience left her traumatized, and it took years for her to overcome her struggles. She eventually found support through other human trafficking survivors and now spreads a message of prevention, working to protect America's at-risk youth from falling prey to sex traffickers. So I was 14 years old. It was the summer between 8th grade middle school and 9th grade high school. There was a guy at the mall, and he pointed me out of the crowd, and he sort of called me over to him. We exchanged phone numbers. And we talked on the phone for about 2 weeks, and he told me things like I was pretty enough to be a model, and he could help me become a songwriter, and he could introduce me to famous people. And to a 14-year-old kid, it just sounded really cool. Like he was going to take me to adult clubs, and I was really struggling at home with depression, and I was struggling with losing my friends. I was really struggling with the transition from middle school to high school. I was afraid of getting beat up. I was afraid of losing my friendships. And so this guy offered this new life and this big adventure, and so I decided to run away with him. But within hours of running away, I was forced into prostitution in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Luckily for me, I was only under their control for 36 hours. A police officer spotted me on the street, and I was actually arrested, and I was treated like a criminal. And this is the reason why I advocate for immediate aftercare for victims, and I advocate for law enforcement training. So the officer sent me home, no aftercare, no services at all. And I really struggled for a lot of years after that. Everybody wants to hear, what was it that changed everything around for you? And I just don't have that answer. It was very, very bad for me. It was really traumatic afterwards. After being home for about 4 days and being grounded and feeling very ashamed, I attempted suicide. And it was that suicide attempt that finally got me into a halfway house, and from there I was sent to a psychiatric facility. And so I finally got some services, but because my therapists were not trained in sex trafficking, I didn't get the therapy that I really needed. And without services, I struggled all through high school. My friends found out what had happened to me, and I was ostracized, and I was called names, and I had to change schools several times. I struggled with drug abuse and just a number of issues until at age 17 or 18, I just realized that nobody was going to save me. Like nobody was going to help me. I had to help myself. And so my teachers helped to get me into a local community college, and I went to school. I studied hard. I transferred to I transferred to Richard Stockton College in New Jersey and graduated with a 3.6 GPA in biology and became a biologist. And things seemed really good after that. I mean, I had excelled professionally and academically, but still I harbored this secret in my past that I used to be a prostitute because I didn't really understand that I was a victim. So for a number of years I continued to struggle. I had really low self-esteem. I didn't think I really deserved a good relationship, and so it was just a number of years. And then I met my husband today, and I learned about human trafficking, and I met other survivors around the country, and meeting other survivors and hearing their stories just changed the world for me completely. The reason that I wrote Walking Prey is because a lot of people find it hard to understand why
after what I had just been through in Atlantic City, why I would refuse to cooperate with police. Because I did, I refused to cooperate with police, and it was for many reasons. The first of which was the first officer who arrested me treated me like a criminal, and he called me all kinds of really nasty names. And I began to feel like society kind of looked down on me. And I thought that I had gotten myself into this situation, so I started to feel like my traffickers, who I didn't call my traffickers, but these people who took me to Atlantic City, now they're the only people that will accept me. And so I actually was trying to get back to them, because everybody else looked at me and treated me like I was dirty, or that I should be ashamed of what I had done. So my instinct was to run away from those who were trying to help me. Well, my big thing is prevention. And I think that prevention needs to start in school. I think that there should be a program available to at-risk youth. And I think the kids who are at risk, they need prevention that deals with all the things that could make that child vulnerable to a trafficker.